Thank you so much, Master of Ceremony. Firstly, I am excited and nervous to address this event as a president, though I have been in such instance so many times, but this is the first time I am addressing as president. To begin with, Ambassador of Australia to Nepal, Excellency Felicity Ball, who is the chief guest of today's event. Former Ambassador of Nepal to Australia, Mr. Mahesh is yet to arrive. Founder President of AAERI this is the Alumni Association, which we closely work with. Dr. Ramhari Aryal, the founding president, is here. Legal Advisor and Election Commission Officer, Mr. R.K. Pathak, who declared the new executive committee today. Mr. Dhiraj Sharma, who is always our leader and mentor. So, AAERI Nepal founder president, Mr. Dhiraj Sharma. All AAERI Nepal executives, other association heads, colleagues from my colleagues from the universities and education providers from Australia, well-wishers from the media and stakeholders, supporters and sponsors of the event, and all my fellow AAERI Nepal members. I feel extremely pleased to address this event, and this is after a year when we had the hybrid event right in this place last year. That was March 2021, where we were pleased to have the presence of Excellency Felicity Ball, and some of the officials of DHA were present in Delhi who addressed through the virtual link. So even in that difficult time, we had the event going on, and all the presence of the AAERI Nepal members, stakeholders and the university providers were based in Nepal. Even during the lockdown, we did that to brainstorm about the opening of the borders back then, and also about the policy making things and all those hindrances and obstacles that we used to have at that period of time. So AAERI Nepal restlessly keeps on brainstorming with the stakeholders, tries to identify the problems and put those problems forwards to the relevant bodies. So this AGM is not only our annual general meeting, but it's also an opportunity to brainstorm about the challenges, threats and opportunities of our industry. So I have a few things to show to you in this screen, because they say a picture speaks 1,000 words. So I've got some pictures to show how we have evolved as AAERI Nepal, who is now a 4-year-old mature association. Okay, so we are moving forward with the moment when AAERI Nepal was conceived. So this is the MOU signing ceremony, which happened in the Ambassador Hotel, Kathmandu in 2018. Our objective was to assure the integrity and credibility of Nepalese agents who are recruiting students on behalf of Australian education and training institutions. So that was our prime motive, and that has always been our motive. The vision is to grow the Nepal's most qualitative, progressive and acceptable and open to all association education agencies recruiting students for Australian education providers. So this is what we do. We have got 34 members who are closely scrutinized by our Code of Ethics, and they are the members of AAERI Nepal today, who are the market leaders, of course, and they also hold the predominant stake of the market share. So as you know, our mission is to accommodate all the agencies. Our mission is to work closely with the Australian diplomatic missions and to develop the relationship not only with the Australian government bodies, but also with the Nepalese government bodies, where we need to be registered, regulated and monitored by. There's always the technical glitches happening. So what I'm trying to show today is what activities did we do, especially in the leadership of Dhiraj Sharma. And I was along with his tribe when we started. We started as a team and we carried on it as a team. So it's the AAERI meeting in Chennai with Austrade, which happened in April 24, 2018, even before the MOU was signed. And we then consistently started liaising with the Australian universities, Australian diplomatic bodies, and we had the university visits during the AIEC in 2018. So we also met with AAERI, which is the association in Australia for the agencies who are operating from Australia. So we have a good relationship with them as well. 2018 passed by very eventfully. We had a lot of events in Nepal, in Australia, in Delhi, and a few other parts of the world. So first AGM of AAERI Nepal was held in 2016, which was graciously, there were so many dignitaries present in there, including His Excellency Peter Bod, who was our greatest supporter since our beginning. And we also had MOU with ANA. So ANA is very unique in terms of its member cohort. This is the association of the alumni who are graduated from Australia. So there are people who bring those technical skills and all those things that they have learned there, and they are investing their part of life here in Nepal. So we closely work with ANA, not only to get their technical expertise, but also to educate the same thing to our prospective students and our AAERI Nepal fellow members as well. So we also had the Northern Territory government visit to Nepal, and we had education fair and member briefing, of course, back then. So that was in 2019, before the COVID hit us. So it looks very eventful at that time. Next, we used to travel to Delhi for every AAERI executive meeting, where the High Commission delegates were also present. So we used to discuss about Nepalese visa applications, statistics, the problems, the solutions, also the recommendations from our industry, our sector. So these were the events that were happening, and we also participated in the AIC conference, which was held in October 2019. That was in Perth. So we had the sideline event of AAERI, and AAERI Nepal was also there, represented by Viraj Sharma. Unfortunately, from the beginning of 2020, we had a very hard time that we all experienced, and I myself was the victim of COVID. I had to stay in hospital for 8 days before I recovered and then came back home. So I think this is the story of some of you present here in the hall as well. So that was the time we never thought about our business, but rather we thought of our life. We thought of our survival. So that was the time that we reflected back in ourselves, and then we tried to identify who we are, where we are, and where we need to be. So that was the reflection time, but still, our business, our spirit, our agenda always remain there. So 2020, we had the AAERI virtual convention, which was hosted by AAERI India, of course, but we had an active participation in the event, and we had a few Nepalese agencies joining there. Also, as the speakers, myself and Mr. Viraj Sharma were there to give the input of Nepalese education agencies struggling through COVID. We also liaised with the Nepal government because a lot of our members' businesses were suffering. And the companies that we have, we employ people, we have the office spaces to pay rent for. There's so many expenses, ongoing expenses. So there, of course, to expand the business, people have taken loans from the financial institution. So we lobbied with Nepal Rashtra Bank, along with other associations which are active in Nepal. And then we are successful to list ourselves as one of the most affected industry. And that's how they rearranged our EMI, equal monthly installment of the loans. They provided us some subsidy. So that was a hard bargain with the government and Nepal Rashtra Bank, but we could do that due to the unity between the association. And so finally 2021 was also not very good in terms of Australian recruitment, because the border opening was delayed. And we are very excited about the students who already got visa. They were impatiently waiting to travel to Australia, but that only could happen at the end of the year. So 2021 onwards, we are on the road to recovery, I must say. And as the support from the Australian Embassy, we are always grateful towards the Embassy, and especially Excellency Felicity Wall. We actually welcomed her when she started her tenure here. So this is how we are closely connected with the diplomatic missions. We try to felicitate, we try to learn from them, we try to interact and provide the insights as well. So this was the last annual general meeting that I was talking about. That was the third annual general meeting that happened right at this place. So that was a hybrid event we had with the presence of some of the people from Australia, some of from India virtually, and then all of these people here smiling in front of camera physically. So we always try to raise our issues about our problems, opportunities, threats and everything. As part of our submission to the High Commission and to the Embassy as well, we always focus on comparing the other study destinations which are attracting Nepalese students, whereas Australia was closed for the international students. In the meantime, we also highlighted about the Canada, who was very immigrant friendly, even in the lockdown period, and all those things were discussed in those events. So that I think that provided a good feedback and insight for the Australian government agencies to think about, to reconsider about their decision, and all those consultations that were going on. We, as a very important stakeholders, we tried to deliver our best possible feedback and suggestion to them. Nepalese ambassador to Australia, we are very close to them as well. So we recently had newly appointed ambassador, Mr. Kailas Pokhrel. We felicitated him before he traveled to Canberra. And recently, this is just, it was 5th of August. So we had an event in the presence of Excellency Felicity Borg as well. So that was the ESOS briefing, which was long talked about topic, but there's so many things to be explained to the education agents, especially their staff members and the association members, because we talk about ESOS Act, but sometimes we forget our responsibility that is guided by the ESOS Act. So Mr. Brett from Department of Education highlighted about the ESOS Acts, the responsibilities of the providers, the responsibilities of the agents, and the rights protected by ESOS Act of the students. So that was a very insightful event, and that was last week actually, 17th of August, Delhi. Some of our friends traveling from India, we met there as well. So that was very eventful, in fact, because AAERI India did not have any physical event for last 2 years. So we met people from the Department of Education, Department of Home Affairs, also from Austrade, and all the university representatives there, and we had a very good discussion. As our founder president said, Ms. Elizabeth Harris, she is outgoing, Chief Migration Officer. She was well appreciated in terms of handling the visa application during the peak time, and she was outgoing. So Mr. Ruben Gray, we met him and felicitated him as well. So we have promised him to give the constant feedback from Nepal market, and we are also sending today's meeting minutes to Ruben and his team so that they could better understand the Nepal market. So now, recently, there is some landslide going on, which I think everyone of us know. So we have the delays in the visa processing from visa office, from the Home Affairs. And we also had some serious concerns raised by the Department of Home Affairs regarding the number of applications from Nepal. And this looks really concerning, of course, because if we compare the number of the last 3 years, the number is record high in terms of visa lodgement. This is the visa lodgement table. So we see, previous one is. We see the number has skyrocketed, and we have a very faint belief that this happened due to the long-term lockdown, and then people were bottlenecked there, so that all those students wanted to apply for the student visa at once. But this created a negative impact in the eyes of Australian government bodies maybe. So they are looking into it, scrutinizing it, which we welcome in fact, because when the numbers grow, then the quality issues always become, comes in the surface. So while we appreciate the steps taken by Department of Home Affairs by requesting the additional documents in visa applications, some of the applications they are asking for the natural justice and all those things, but we always welcome that our agencies, our member agencies should be scrutinized, but we also ask department through Excellency Ambassador not to create the impression that Nepal as a whole, a blanket market, is bad in terms of quality of applications. So this is our humble request to scrutinize each and every agency's application quality and also to scrutinize what the real problems are and how we can reach to the proper positive solution. So we are always there to provide our feedback and provide our honest finding of the market. So this is where we stand in terms of AAERI, I would like to say that. And the real concern happened because of this April to June data, which in the 3 months, over 3 months of time, there was a record high lodgement, which didn't happen even in a year's time if we compare to the 2017 and 18. So this has obviously created some concerns, and we all, as the AAERI Nepal members, we need to be careful about it. We need to be careful about the screening the students' application. And education providers also, I humbly request them to be very, very realistic in terms of asking the documents, and also very, very careful about verifying the documents. So this is what we have found. And if we see the progress, the numbers are always, it's like the roller coaster, it goes up sometimes, it comes down. Instead of seeing those roller coaster numbers and graphs, we always prefer to have want to see the stability, which we are working hard on. Because having the quality agencies in the market will increase the stability and also maintain the quality and integrity. That's what we believe. Next slide, please. So this is the comparison of the data once again. Next. Okay, so all these things happened, these things are happening, and this is part of our business, and this is part of our journey as well. But what next for the 2022 half of this year and up to June? So what we have thought is all these problems are created because of the mushrooming agencies who open the office one day and then they make money and then vanishes from the market. So we need to be very, very tactful about having the agencies, which is the primary responsibility of the Nepalese government, but still as an association, we try to welcome the quality members in our association cohort. So we plan to have 40 members, which Dira mentioned about 40. So I think there are many quality agents who are outside of the bracket, so we plan to extend our membership. And training is missing. So what we plan to do is we want to organize a monthly training that will equip our members in terms of scrutinizing the documents and the applications, not being very greedy, but be stable and then very much thoughtful about how to go ahead. And also we are trying to regularly audit our members' activities and share that feedback to the department. We also want to closely work with Ministry of Education of Nepal. One of the problems that we are facing is Ministry of Education is not renewing our the license to operate, but I think they are still working on it. But there are rumors about the deposits, the heavy deposits that should be made to operate our business, which we are trying to tell them that we are not the business who take the money from the clients and then send somewhere or keep ourselves. We are just the facilitator who asks the student to transfer the money either to the High Commission as a visa fee or to the education providers as the tuition fee. So this is the constant process that we're trying to liaise with the Nepalese government agencies. And as usual, we are also planning to request for the visa waiver for AAERI Nepal members. And I think you are aware that this Tuesday, a visa webinar is happening from DHA official, which will, I think, answer most of the questions that we have in our mind. And we are also, we also believe in empowering our Asian association, Asian members. So we are trying to organize a fan tour during the AIEC in October, which is happening in Gold Coast. So we'll also be having the AAERI conference there. We'll let all our members know, and we'll also liaise with the universities, colleges based in Gold Coast and nearby area to organize the fan tour so that we can have a better understanding of the education providers and the agencies as well. So finally, we also think that the students should be better educated before traveling to Australia. So we plan to have the pre-departure session, either face-to-face or through digital media platforms, where we can reach as many students as we could. So in coordination with our members and with the education providers, we plan to conduct the pre-departure orientation session that will better equip the students with the knowledge and skill that they need to have before traveling to Australia. So these are the AAERI Nepal members that we currently have. That's displayed there as well. So all the time we welcome the new agencies in our association, but with utter scrutiny. We have the membership criteria, which says that either the members should represent one university or one government TAFE or at least 2 university campuses, so that they know the proper GT and all those things that govern the Australian education providers to ensure the better quality education to the Nepalese students. So we also need them to be QEAC certified, and we also need them to be in the industry for quite a long time, so that our members will always be, examined, and they can lead the market with the positive example. So this is all from my side. I'd like to thank everyone who are present here in today's ASEAN. So this is the beginning of a new era where we should be not in the haste, but thoughtful, and think about the activities that's happening. And collectively we have to try to fix it in terms of quality especially. And for the policy and other stuff, which is a long-term strategy, we also need to work together closely to make it in terms of for the benefit of the international students. So all of our interest boils down to the international students who have their dreams, who are willing to study in the dream destination, Australia, where they want to excel in academics, where they want to have their future secure, and where some of these students, they may want to settle there, and some of these students come back to Nepal and becomes the alumni, just like Anna. That is a process of development cycle which AAERI Nepal would like to witness and also be a facilitator all the time. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone out here, and a special thanks to the Australian Embassy, Ms. Felicity Paul, and everyone present here. Thank you so much.